Greetings, wanderers of the abyss. Today, we're going to put the mythos in order. The entities of the Cthulhu Mythos have been described in many ways: monsters, gods, forces of nature, but rarely are they compared by something as simple as scale. Not power, not influence, just size. From beings that are barely perceptible to those so massive that galaxies might drift through their bodies like dust. And what makes this comparison disturbing is that size means nothing here. Some of the smallest entities in Lovecraft's universe are among the most dangerous. The largest are barely describable. So, today we're going to walk through that scale, from the microscopic to the multiversal, and see how horror takes shape, in forms both tiny and incomprehensibly vast. Let's begin. Brown Jenkin is a small creature described as having the body of a rat and a human face. It measures about 1 foot tall, and it moves quickly through narrow spaces within the house. It serves Keziah Mason, a witch who made a pact with Nyarlathotep, and it acts as her familiar. Jenkin's main functions are delivering messages, drinking blood, and carrying out tasks for Keziah and Nyarlathotep. It appears mainly at night, crawling onto sleeping victims, speaking to them, and sometimes biting or feeding on them. It is known to move between dimensions, using cracks in walls or the spaces between rooms, making it impossible to contain. Although small, Brown Jenkin is dangerous because of its connection to cosmic forces, its intelligence, and its ability to appear without warning. It represents physical and psychological invasion, and its presence is usually accompanied by sleep paralysis, hallucinations, and unexplained injuries. The worms of the earth are a degenerate subterranean race described in the Branmock Morn stories by Robert E. Howard. They measure around 1.6 feet tall and have a serpentine appearance, with twisted humanoid features, scaly skin, and limb-like appendages. Although small, they are physically resilient and adapted to life underground. According to the story, they were once human, but became something else after retreating into the earth to escape persecution. Over countless generations, they mutated, losing their humanity and developing inhuman strength, mental abilities, and vengeful hatred toward the surface world. They live in vast tunnel networks beneath Britain and are associated with forbidden knowledge, dark sorcery, and cursed relics. Contact with them is dangerous, both physically and mentally, as they have been known to drive humans insane through their rituals and their telepathic influence. Despite their small size, the worms of the earth are a serious threat. They embody the horror of degeneration, the fear of what lies beneath, and the consequences of dealing with ancient hidden forces. The spawn of Abhoth are mutant offspring produced by Abhoth, a massive amorphous entity that dwells deep underground. These creatures range in size from about 1.6 to 2.3 feet and are deformed, semi-liquid, and often barely functional. Their forms vary wildly. Some resemble blobs of flesh, others have tentacles, eyes, or limbs in the wrong places. Abhoth constantly generates these spawn as a byproduct of its existence. It sees them as useless waste, and they are often reabsorbed or destroyed shortly after emerging. However, some escape into the caverns surrounding Abhoth's lair, and a few may survive long enough to wander or even attack intruders. These spawn have no intelligence and are driven by instinct. Their presence represents contamination, biological corruption, and the breakdown of natural form. Although individually weak, encountering them in large numbers, or simply witnessing their grotesque appearance, can cause mental trauma and physical disease. The spawn of Abhoth are a clear symbol of unchecked mutation and cosmic pollution, and they serve as a warning. Some gods create life not with purpose, but as waste that should never have existed. The Vormis are primal humanoid beings native to Hyperborea, an ancient land in Clark Ashton Smith's mythos. A newborn Vormis measures between 2.3 and 3.3 feet and is covered in thick matted fur, with clawed hands, a low forehead, and a bestial face. Even as infants, Vormis are wild and aggressive. They are born with fully developed claws and teeth, capable of attacking and defending themselves. Their early behavior is marked by hostility. and they often engage in fighting within their own kind before reaching maturity. The Vormis live in mountain caves, isolated from human civilization, and are considered a dying race by the time of Satampra Zeros's tale. They worshipped Sathogwa, the toad-like god of Hyperborea, and are linked to ancient savage rituals and forbidden knowledge. Newborn Vormis are dangerous because of their brutal instincts, physical strength, and lack of fear. They represent the persistence of pre-human life, and their presence in the mythos reflects the survival of older, darker species long after humanity's rise. These creatures are small, hunched humanoids, roughly 3.3 feet tall, with elongated limbs, clawed hands, and faces resembling those of dogs or hyenas. They dwell in catacombs, graveyards, and the deeper layers of the dreamlands, surviving by consuming the flesh of the dead. Some were once human, twisted over time by cannibalism and exposure to forbidden realms. Others are born into their condition. The younger members of their kind are quicker, more agile, and tend to be more cautious, though still aggressive when threatened. They form packs and display basic intelligence, able to communicate, bargain, and even form temporary alliances. In certain stories, they are shown guiding or assisting humans, but their motives remain uncertain, and their loyalty is limited. Encounters with these beings often occur underground, where they move silently through tunnels and crypts. They embody decay, marginal existence, and the blurring line between man and monster, a disturbing reminder of what may lurk beneath civilization. These creatures are part of an ancient race that once lived on the surface but was driven underground by humans thousands of years ago. Over time, isolation and exposure to dark sorcery twisted them into something barely recognizable. A typical worm of the earth stands around 5 feet tall, with a slim, hunched body, scaly or slimy skin, and elongated limbs. Their faces are often described as inhuman, with sunken eyes and distorted mouths, and their movements are unnatural, as if they barely remember how to walk like men. They inhabit deep caverns and tunnel networks, far beneath the Earth's surface. There, they practice forbidden rituals, preserve ancient knowledge, and plot revenge against the surface world. Though not physically powerful, they possess psychic abilities and access to dark magic, making them dangerous. Their existence represents degeneration, revenge, and the horrors hidden beneath the world we know. Mi-Go are alien beings from Yugoth associated with Pluto, known for their scientific precision and complete lack of empathy. They are about 6.5 feet tall, with bodies that resemble a mix of fungus and insect. Their segmented limbs, chitinous exoskeleton, and multiple wings allow them to function in both Earth's atmosphere and space. Their flesh is rubbery and cold, and their heads lack traditional eyes or mouths. Communication is done through unknown means, and they rely on advanced technology to interact with humans. One of their most disturbing practices is the extraction of human brains, which are placed in metal cylinders and kept alive for study or transport. Mi-Go are not overtly hostile, but they see humans as resources, not equals. Their hidden operations on Earth include mining, experimentation, and biological harvesting, all done without human consent or understanding. They reflect the fear of being used by higher intelligence, and the alien logic that drives them is what makes them so unnerving. Ghouls are humanoid creatures that dwell in underground catacombs and the dreamlands. Adult specimens are roughly 6.5 feet tall, with long limbs, clawed hands, and canine-like features. Their bodies are hairless, with pale, rubbery skin, and their posture is often hunched, giving them an animalistic silhouette. They survive by feeding on corpses, digging through cemeteries or ancient burial grounds. Despite their bestial appearance, ghouls are intelligent, able to communicate, negotiate, and even form alliances with humans or other entities. Some ghouls were once human, transformed by habitual cannibalism and exposure to necromantic forces. In the dreamlands, they form organized communities and even assist certain travelers, though their help is always unsettling. They embody the fear of dehumanization and the idea that humanity can erode, leaving something feral behind. These entities are winged, faceless beings that serve as guardians and messengers in the dreamlands. They stand about 6.5 feet tall, with leathery skin, horned heads, and long, bat-like wings spanning up to 10 feet. Their bodies are smooth, slender, and completely silent in flight. One of their most disturbing features is the lack of a face, no eyes, mouth, or nose, just a blank surface. They do not speak, but are capable of understanding language and follow commands, often in service of unknown forces. Night gaunts are known to capture dreamers, carrying them through the skies and depositing them in the dangerous or distant places. Though they rarely kill, their cold touch and unpredictable behavior make them feared throughout the dreamlands. They represent loss of control and the terror of being taken without explanation by something that cannot be reasoned with. The Hounds of Tindalos are non-human predators that exist outside of normal time and space. Each one is estimated to be around 10 feet tall, though their exact form is unclear and partially abstract. Witnesses describe them as distorted, with angular limbs, long necks, and faces shrouded in mist or slime. They enter our reality through sharp angles, often appearing in rooms with corners or geometric edges. Their bodies seem fluid and partially intangible, allowing them to move through solid matter and time itself. These entities hunt anyone who tampers with forbidden knowledge, especially those who try to perceive or travel through time and higher dimensions. Once a person is marked, the hounds pursue them relentlessly, appearing without warning and consuming them body and soul. They embody the horror of cosmic consequences, especially for those who seek to transcend human limits. Fire vampires are energy-based entities, roughly 10 feet tall, that appear as flames shaped like humanoid figures. They are semi-transparent, constantly shifting, with tendrils of fire extending from their core. Despite their form, they are alive and highly intelligent. They serve the god Cthulhu, acting as agents of destruction and carriers of his will. These beings can survive in space, move between worlds, and often descend upon planets or regions targeted by Cthulhu. Wherever they appear, they bring intense heat, plasma discharges, and spontaneous combustion of all nearby matter. Their method of attack involves draining life force from living beings and consuming their bodies in flame. They are feared not only for their destructive nature, but also for their alien mindset. They do not speak or negotiate, only obey. Fire vampires represent pure elemental threat, cosmic servitude, and the horror of being reduced to fuel for a higher power. Ghasts are large, hunched bipeds about 13 feet tall, with pale, rubbery skin, clawed hands, and long, sloping snouts. They move with a slouching gait, often on all fours, and emit barking or screeching sounds when in groups. They inhabit the vaults of Zin, a massive cavern beneath the Dreamlands, where they live in packs, hunting for meat, including other dream creatures, and occasionally, human visitors. Ghasts are primitive and aggressive, lacking complex language but capable of coordinated attacks. They are in constant conflict with other underworld species, especially the Gugs, whom they fear and avoid. Their presence symbolizes savagery, territorial violence, and the fear of being hunted in the dark by something inhuman. In the deepest caverns of Mount Vormithadreth, a spider waits. Atlach Nasha spans nearly 15 feet, with a body like a monstrous arachnid and a face disturbingly human. It doesn't move often, it doesn't speak. Its entire existence is focused on a single task, weaving a web that bridges worlds. This web is not decorative or territorial, it's a dimensional construct, slowly extending across an abyss beneath the earth. Some believe that, when it's complete, it will allow other entities to cross into our reality. Atlach Nasha's origin is unknown. It does not attack unless disturbed, but those who stumble into its domain rarely return. Its silk is unnaturally strong, and its bite is paralyzing. This being is a symbol of cosmic patience, a predator not driven by hunger, but by an incomprehensible purpose, tied to the structure of reality itself. A Shoggoth is not a creature in the usual sense. It's a living mass, around 20 feet in diameter, made of black, shifting protoplasm. It has no fixed shape. Eyes, mouths, and tendrils appear and vanish across its surface in constant motion. It was manufactured, not born, created by the Elder Things as a tool for building, carrying, and fighting. Over time, it developed independent will and turned on its creators. Now, it moves through the ruins of ancient cities, repeating eerie, half-remembered words and voices that are not its own. Shoggoths can adapt instantly, changing form to crush, engulf, or escape. Their intelligence is debated, but they are highly reactive and often hostile to intruders. This entity is pure biomechanical terror, the nightmare of artificial life, evolving beyond control. A gug is hard to mistake for anything else. Standing around 25 feet tall, this creature is a towering brute with gray leathery skin, enormous arms, and a vertical mouth that opens from forehead to chest. Its eyes are small and gleam with predatory awareness, even in total darkness. These giants live in the underworld of the Dreamlands, specifically the cursed city of the Gogs, a place sealed off by ancient gods due to their blasphemies. They are known for their strength, savagery, and taste for human flesh, particularly that of dreamers who fall into their realm. Gugs are not mindless. They follow rituals, serve ancient powers, and guard forbidden places. However, their society is violent, driven by brutal hierarchy and fear of stronger entities like the Ghasts, whom they actively hunt. They represent the monstrous hierarchy of the Dreamlands, and the idea that power and size offer no safety, only more ways to consume or be consumed. Described as a massive, bloated toad-like god, roughly 30 feet in size, Tsathoggua sits in absolute darkness, deep in forgotten temples or cavernous lairs. Its eyes are half-lidded, its limbs soft and sluggish, and its body covered in slime. Yet beneath that stillness lies a predatory awareness and hunger. Worshipped by ancient civilizations and degenerate cults, Tsathoggua requires no rituals, no prayers. Those who approach it are often absorbed alive, their fate sealed the moment they enter its chamber. Its spawn, amorphous, oozing things, serve as extensions of its will. Unlike other gods who act, Tsathoggua waits. Its horror lies in its passivity, a being so powerful it simply exists, devouring time, matter, and life as they come. It is a symbol of stagnation, decay, and the eternal presence of forgotten gods watching from the dark. This entity is found in the ruins of an ancient Assyrian city, guarding a treasure tied to an old curse. It appears as a 30-foot tall humanoid figure made of flame, with no solid body, only intense heat and light forming its outline. Its origin is unclear, but it likely results from ritual magic or divine punishment, linked to the fall of a forgotten civilization. The entity does not react to speech or threats. It moves slowly and destroys anything it touches, including stone and metal. Explorers who encounter it are burned alive. Its function is defensive, limited to a specific area, but it is indestructible by conventional means. The presence of the fire entity shows that ancient forces remain active and dangerous in the present. It is a type of elemental guardian, created to enforce a boundary and ensure that forbidden relics remain undisturbed. Ghatanothoa is a massive, tentacled being measuring about 33 feet in size. It is kept imprisoned beneath Mount Yadith Go, and its image or presence causes petrification of living flesh, while the victim remains fully conscious inside the mummified body. The entity was brought to Earth millions of years ago by the alien elder gods who intended it as a weapon of control. However, it became unstable and had to be sealed away. Cults dedicated to Ghatanothoa still operate, aiming to release it or use its power. Its gaze works even through reflections or carvings, making any visual contact extremely dangerous. Once afflicted, there is no known cure, and the victim remains aware indefinitely. Ghatanothoa serves as a symbol of irreversible doom, and of the risks of encountering alien life forms with biological effects that humans cannot resist or understand. Serpent King of Volusia. The Serpent People are an ancient race of reptilian humanoids capable of shape-shifting into human form. Their rulers, sometimes referred to as Serpent Kings, grow up to 15 feet tall with coiled tails, scaled skin, and elongated skulls. They live in underground cities and infiltrate human societies, often replacing political leaders or religious figures. Their control is maintained through deception, hypnosis, and ritual sacrifice. These beings are connected to serpent gods and use forgotten magic to maintain their influence. Physically, they are stronger and more durable than humans, but their true threat comes from strategic manipulation and generational control over kingdoms and civilizations. The Serpent Kings are tied to the fear of hidden rulers and the idea that human history is shaped by non-human forces operating in secret. Mother Hydra is a colossal amphibious entity, approximately 40 feet tall, venerated by the Deep Ones in their submarine cities. Her appearance combines aquatic features, scaled skin, webbed extremities, and bulbous eyes, with a grotesque humanoid form, built for life in the ocean depths. As one of the two central deities in Deep One's society, she holds religious and possibly ruling authority. She is present during underwater rituals, often associated with the birth and integration of hybrids resulting from human Deep One unions. Her influence extends to coastal cults on the surface, particularly in Innsmouth. While her full origin remains unknown, she is regarded as immortal, existing since prehistoric times, and possibly part of a larger network of non-human life forms that predate mankind's rise. Standing about 45 feet tall, Dagon is a gigantic marine humanoid encountered in the Pacific by a World War I survivor. The being displays fish-like adaptations, gills, scales, and webbed limbs, combined with a powerful humanoid frame capable of rising from the deep ocean to the surface. He is worshipped by Deep Ones as a divine figure, often viewed as either their ancient ruler or a living god. Human cults also revere him, forming alliances that involve sacrifice, hybrid breeding, and worship in exchange for longevity or power. His rare appearances are linked to ritual activity, territorial defense, or retribution, and typically result in destruction or madness for human witnesses. While associated with historical myths, the version found in Lovecraft's work is a biological entity, likely ancient and possibly extraterrestrial in origin. Ithaqua, known as the Windwalker, is a 50-foot-tall humanoid associated with Arctic and subarctic regions. Described as gaunt, with elongated limbs and pale skin, it travels through snowstorms, often without sound, abducting lone travelers. Those taken are found frozen, disfigured, or not at all. Legend suggests they are transported to another realm or dimension. Sightings often coincide with blizzards, and sudden drops in temperature are considered a warning sign of its approach. The creature is linked to the Wendigo myth, but within the mythos, it functions as a cosmic predator. Some isolated communities offer sacrifices to avoid drawing its attention. It is also said to serve larger powers, possibly including Hastur, and has likely existed since before recorded history. This being measures about 60 feet long and has a slug-like body covered in metallic spines and eye stalks. It resides submerged in a lake, surfacing only to interact with cultists or enforce its will. Its spines can impale victims, but the more disturbing effect is its ability to control minds, driving those who serve it into madness or undeath. It communicates telepathically, implanting visions and compulsions into chosen individuals, often compelling them to worship or serve directly. Over time, followers become physically altered, losing autonomy and existing solely as extensions of its will. Glaki is immortal and hostile to outsiders. It is often linked to ancient texts, including the revelations of Glaaki, which document forbidden knowledge transmitted to humans through dreams or visions. A 65-foot-tall humanoid, Ygolanak appears faceless, with mouths in the palms of its hands. Its body is bloated, naked, and disfigured, embodying depravity and taboo. It is summoned through mental invocation, often using written texts or forbidden thoughts as a gateway. This entity seeks veneration through corruption, influencing individuals to commit acts of perversion, violence, and sacrilege. It manifests when boundaries of morality are broken, often appearing in response to rituals of transgression. Although rarely seen in full form, its influence is widespread among cults dedicated to forbidden desires. It does not operate through fear alone, but through manipulation of the human psyche, offering power in exchange for moral surrender. This semi-humanoid mass stands around 70 feet tall, with a body described as tentacled, scaled, and constantly shifting. Its most dangerous feature is its gaze, which causes instant petrification of living flesh while leaving the mind intact and aware. It was brought to Earth in ancient times by cosmic entities, then sealed beneath a mountain by its creators to prevent further destruction. Cults dedicated to the being attempt to release or worship it, often becoming petrified victims themselves. Even depictions or reflections can trigger its effect, making direct observation impossible. The entity functions as a living curse, preserved over millennia and capable of rendering victims into eternal conscious imprisonment. This underground entity measures about 80 feet long and is associated with massive seismic activity. It moves beneath the Earth's crust, causing earthquakes and structural collapses as it shifts through stone and soil. Belonging to the race of Chthonians, Shu-Damiel is regarded as a godlike figure among its kind. It communicates telepathically with cultists, often demanding worship and sacrifice in exchange for avoiding destruction. The creature's body is worm-like, muscular, and resistant to damage. Its existence is largely unknown to humanity, except through ancient texts and legends of ground-shaking gods. It symbolizes natural disaster as sentient force and the danger of awakening things buried deep below. Abhoth is a vast, shapeless mass about 90 feet in diameter, constantly secreting slime, filth, and mutant life forms. It resides in underground caverns, surrounded by a sickening environment of twisted, half-formed creatures that emerge from its body. These spawn are often deformed, short-lived, and cannibalistic, returning to Abhoth or being absorbed by it. The entity is self-aware, capable of speech, and expresses indifference or contempt toward those who approach. It is believed to be the source of corruption, embodying biological excess and mindless reproduction. Some cults consider it a source of forbidden knowledge, while others simply avoid it due to its toxic presence. Ubosathla is a primordial protoplasmic mass about 100 feet across, located in the deepest caverns of Earth. It is described as featureless, pulsating, and emitting a dull glow, surrounded by ancient relics and forgotten artifacts. According to myth, this being is the origin of all life, producing proto-organisms in a constant cycle. It has no intellect, personality, or will, existing solely to generate and release basic life forms, which then evolve or perish. Its presence is connected to pre-human history, and some texts suggest it predates the gods themselves. Cultists and scholars seek it for primordial knowledge, but it offers nothing consciously, only the raw material of existence. Ubosathla represents creation without intent, life as a mechanical process, and the alien origin of all living matter. Estimated to stand around 1,000 feet tall, this being has a form that resists precise description. It combines elements of cephalopod, dragon, and humanoid, with tentacles covering its face, a scaly body, clawed limbs, and massive wings. Its proportions and shape seem to shift depending on the observer, and its presence warps the geometry of space around it. Cthulhu lies dormant in the sunken city of R'lyeh, beneath the South Pacific. This city, constructed from non-Euclidean stone, periodically rises to the surface, allowing the entity to stir briefly. Even in slumber, it emits telepathic signals, inducing dreams, hysteria, and madness in sensitive individuals worldwide. It is not truly mortal. When physically damaged, such as during its brief emergence in the 1920s, it was injured by a ship, only to reconstitute itself moments later. This suggests it is not fully bound by matter or biology as we understand them. Rather than acting out of hatred, it is simply indifferent. Humanity is not its enemy. It is irrelevant. Cults dedicated to this being anticipate its return, convinced that one day it will rise permanently, reclaiming the Earth as part of some forgotten cosmic order. It represents the fragility of the human mind, the irrelevance of our species, and the terrifying notion that some entities are simply too vast to oppose or comprehend. Towering at an estimated 1,200 feet, this entity appears as a gigantic aquatic reptile with a body covered in tentacles, spines, and finned appendages. Its surface is slick and armored, and its limbs end in clawed extensions adapted for both swimming and crushing. Zoth Almog is imprisoned beneath the sea, within the sunken ruins of Yhanthle, where it remains in forced hibernation. Like others of its kind, it is not truly asleep. Its presence still radiates, influencing cult worship, volcanic activity, and seismic phenomena near its resting place. Worshipped by Deep Ones and various ancient sects, this being is often considered a spawn or descendant of Cthulhu. Its emergence is believed to herald environmental catastrophe, with even minor movements capable of triggering earthquakes or tsunamis. Where Cthulhu is known for mental influence, Zoth Almog represents physical upheaval, the horror of a planetary organism shifting beneath us, unseen and unstoppable. It symbolizes the ancestral forces buried in Earth's crust, and the idea that our world is merely a resting place for creatures we have forgotten, but that remain very real. Bokrug is an immense amphibious deity, approximately 1,500 feet long, known as the Great Water Lizard. Its body is reptilian, with a long, scaled torso, powerful limbs, and an elongated head resembling a lizard or aquatic dragon. The creature typically lies dormant beneath the Lake of Ib, invisible to the surface world. Thousands of years ago, the city of Ib and its inhabitants were destroyed by the people of Sarnath. In retaliation, Bokrug rose from the lake, destroying Sarnath overnight through floods, storms, and psychic terror. It did not speak, negotiate, or pause. Its appearance alone caused madness, and by dawn, the city no longer existed. Since then, the lake remains undisturbed, and Bokrug has not been seen again. Its existence is tied to vengeance, cosmic retribution, and the memory of past crimes. It embodies the fear that actions have ancient consequences, and that some gods wait patiently for justice, no matter how long it takes. Cthulhu is described as a massive, winged creature roughly 1,000 feet tall, resembling a smaller but no less terrifying version of Cthulhu. Its body is scaled, with leathery wings, tentacles, and a reptilian torso built for survival in deep caverns and oceanic trenches. Unlike many beings in the mythos, it has a specific function: to act as the progenitor of Cthulhu's lineage. Cultists believe it was created or chosen to preserve the bloodline, ensuring that Cthulhu's essence survives across ages. It remains hidden, protected by loyal cults and subterranean guardians, and is said to rarely move, waiting for the right cosmic conditions. Unlike its parent, it does not influence dreams or minds. It exists solely as a biological reserve, a living contingency plan for when the stars are right. Cthulhu represents the concept of cosmic legacy, that even beings as powerful as Cthulhu have successors, and that their return is not a singular event, but part of an ongoing, repeating cycle that humanity cannot interrupt. Azathoth is described as the nuclear chaos at the center of all reality. It has no fixed form, only a shifting, bubbling mass of chaotic matter, surrounded by idiot flutes played by servitors who keep it pacified. Its size is immeasurable, not because it's infinite in physical terms, but because it exists outside human dimensions. It is completely mindless. Unlike other beings in the mythos that show purpose or will, Azathoth is unaware. Its existence is mechanical, an engine that generates the universe by accident, like a malfunctioning machine left running. The implication is clear. Everything we know, from galaxies to human life, exists because this blind force dreams it into being. If it ever wakes up, the universe ends. Azathoth cannot be visited in any normal sense. It exists beyond time and space, and only those who travel through dreams, or via forbidden rituals, can perceive fragments of it, usually at the cost of insanity or erasure. It doesn't speak, it doesn't judge, it doesn't destroy with intention. but its presence is catastrophic simply because it shouldn't be aware, and yet all things depend on its unconscious state. Azathoth is the embodiment of cosmic indifference taken to the extreme, not an enemy, not a god in the traditional sense, but a mindless origin point that proves everything could be meaningless. It is the ultimate expression of existence without purpose, and that's why it terrifies. Yog-Sothoth is a conscious sentient entity described as a collection of luminous spheres, constantly merging and separating. Unlike Azathoth, it is intelligent, and not just intelligent, but omniscient. It exists everywhere and everywhen simultaneously, meaning that it is the universe as well as something outside of it. This being knows all things, past, present, future, and what lies outside the known dimensions. It can't be tricked, evaded, or fully comprehended. To encounter it is to see all of reality at once, and this knowledge is fatal to human minds. Yog-Sothoth is often invoked by those seeking forbidden knowledge, scientists, sorcerers, or cultists, trying to transcend space and time. It allows this, sometimes granting access to other dimensions, but always at a cost. Those who make contact change, mentally, physically, or both. In the Dunwich Horror, it fathers Wilbur Whately, a human-alien hybrid, showing that it can interact with reality directly, influencing lineage, matter, and destiny. What makes Yog-Sothoth disturbing isn't just its power, but its perfect awareness. There is no hiding from it. Every thought, every action, every event has already been seen and potentially influenced by it. It represents the fear of predestination, fate, and the idea that free will may not exist. In the mythos, it is the gate and the key, the one who opens dimensions, bridges realities, and allows things outside to come inside. But it is also the watcher, the architect, and the eternal witness to all things. Yog-Sothoth is not evil, but its knowledge alone is corrosive. It represents the danger of understanding too much, and the horror that the universe is a closed system, already mapped, already known, and possibly already decided.